Hey everybody out there. I'm just going to do another video here for you today. Today we are going to install the Franklin Armory BFS 3. Now you've probably seen other videos installing it. This is not going to be an installation video. I'm not going to sit here and tell you do this, do that, do this, do that. I thought it'd be more interesting to take a look at how they recommend the springs to be set. You know, it comes with two sets. Comes with standard springs and reduced springs. So what I'm going to do is that makes 4 possible combinations of springs you could put in. I'm going to install them all, and every time I install them, then I'm going to check them. We're going to find out exactly what the trigger pull is. And then also, I've got an original BFS 2 that's installed. Been shooting this one for a while. It works awesome. The intro to the video shows this lower rounding out some rounds. But today, we're going to put them in this lower. It's an LWRC AR-15 lower. We're going to put the BFS 3 in it. And again, like I said, we're going to go over the different pull weights by different spring combinations. And then I'll decide exactly which one I think I like best. I mean, you got to experiment to know what works and what doesn't work. Then you're going to want to subscribe, and you're going to want to keep up with us, because one of our next videos, I'm going to take both of these lowers to the range, and we're going to shoot both of them and compare the two, the old versus the new, see how they compare. They operate differently. I already know the trigger pull is going to be different, but do they actually work a little differently? Are there little kinks you need to work out and know the difference in the two? We may even have some other exciting shots going on for you in the middle of that. So while you're here, subscribe so that you don't miss out on that, along with some of our other great videos we got coming up shortly. Okay, we've got our trigger put in. Put it in with the lightest trigger spring and the lightest hammer spring. Let me tell you, it's pretty light. Kind of function checked it. Seems to actually be working well. Put us a little piece of ABS in here. Keep that hammer from ramming into our lower. Let's do our first of 3 trigger pulls here. We got, looks like just under 4 pounds. It's not too bad. Reset it. Let's do this again. That one is just under 3.5 pounds. That's a pretty good drop. Let's reset it. One more time. Best of 3. Just under 3.5 pounds again. Got to say, that is a light trigger pull. Take that back out of there. And it feels good. It's not long. It's pretty short. Just that tad little bit. It's nice. Very, very nice. Okay. Now, we're going to change out the spring for our hammer. We'll put in the standard spring and see what our weights come back as then. Okay, here we are. We have the lightest trigger spring and a standard hammer spring. Let's check it, see what we think about it. See what kind of weights we can come up with here on our trigger pull. Seemed to all be pretty good when I was doing it off camera. Let's see how it is now. It's just under 4 pounds. Number 2. It's about 4.25 pounds. And reset. Number 3. 4 pounds again. Still pretty good, I do believe. And still feels good. Can't say nothing real bad about it. I mean, it's not some specialized trigger, super light for high accuracy. Then again, it's supposed to be a rapid fire trigger. Nice. So next we'll take our trigger spring out and put it back to the standard spring side or weight, and we'll go ahead and put in our lightest hammer spring and start again. Now we have our standard trigger spring with our lightest hammer spring. Let's run our 3 pulls and see what kind of pulls we get. Number 1. $4 pounds. Pretty good. Yep. Piece shifted in there. Let's do this again. Reset it. Number 2. 3.5 pounds. Whew. That's much nicer. Let's reset. And our 3rd pull. 3.5 pounds again. Man, that is so nice. And again, we had that set up. It's the standard trigger spring with the lightest hammer spring. The trigger is still very short pull. I mean, I love it. I love it a lot. It's looking pretty good. So next up will be standard springs all the way through. Okay, got it in again, all ready to go. We got standard springs all the way through this time, trigger and hammer. Gotta say, weight increased. Still a nice break though. Let's give this thing a run. 3 pulls, same as all the last times. Here we go. Number 1. ABS broke in there. It's about 4.25 pounds. It's pretty nice. Number 2. Wow, that one jumped up about 4.75. 4 3/4 pounds. That one was a little jump. Kind of felt like it was pulling a little longer than the other ones. Okay, number 3. Let's see where we are. Wow, that one went quick. 4.25 pounds. Let's see if that second one was just some kind of fluke or I pulled at a different angle. Let's try it. 4.25 pounds. I must have pulled at a different angle. Well, that's where we're at. Standard and standard. I think I like a little bit lighter trigger pull. It seemed pretty nice. I think I'm going to take the hammer back out, drop it down to the lower spring, lower weight spring. I think it's going to make a really nice trigger on top of being a fast trigger. So I'm going to take it back apart, swap it back out, and then we'll compare the number 3rd generation to the 2nd generation I got sitting over there, see where we're at. Okay, got my gun all back together. We got it set up. We got our trigger safe, semi, binary. It's going to be fun. Played with it for a few minutes, gotten a feel for it, noticed some interesting things. I'm going to point them out here. We're in semi. We're going to pull the trigger. 4.5 pounds. Flip it to binary, reset it. Let's pull the trigger. about 3.5. That's a little difference. That one about 3 3/4. Find that kind of interesting. There's actually a pull weight difference between semi and binary mode. At least it's lighter when you're in binary, because that's when you want to make it move. We go back to, this is the original. If you can see in here and see the original full system that's in there. We got it set to semi. Let's do a pull and see what our weight was. 8 pounds. Let's set it to binary and see if there's any difference like there was on the other one. Now my scale stopped at 8. If you can see it on there, that last line was 8. That was about right there. It's probably upwards of 8.5 pounds. It's quite a bit of pull weight on the old one compared to the new one. But it ran well. I did figure out to make it really run, there was a little trick with it. You gotta stop your recoil. I'll go ahead and put that out there. Let everybody see. I told y'all in a previous video I would talk about it. This is it. When you put this gun up and in you gotta lock it. Hear all these guys talking about the outrun the trigger? I think it's got more to do with physics and how recoil can affect your trigger. Everybody's heard of bump firing. If this gun's loose, it fires. Put it in binary here. It fires. Boom. It jumps back. Suddenly your finger's off the trigger and it's hit back. Well, if it's in the middle of the action with all that speed, you might have triggered it to release while your bolt carrier group was still on top of it. There's a good chance of that. Watched a lot of videos of people shooting them to see what was happening. Decided I would pause them and look, kind of play by play, in the center of it to see what was happening that was causing them to have the hammer follow. Pretty much looked like every time there was one round that kind of pushed a little harder. Finger probably slipped a little bit. That's probably why they were having hammer follow. I've done some shoots, 20 rounds, 2 seconds. That gun will roll. Will absolutely roll. It will throw rounds downrange so fast you don't want to see it coming. But that's enough of that for today. What we got coming next? We're going to take both these rifles to the range. Going to shoot them side by side, play with them side by side, maybe even have a little dueling match, see who can dump a magazine the fastest side by side. So subscribe, keep watching, and see what happens next.